Hi, good morning. Today is Thursday. It's Thursday, August the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't got my calendar yet. It's August the 25th, the year 2022. Dear Pastor, dear secular world, I'm going through it. You know, I listen to a lot of motivational talks. I listen to a lot of pastors. I listen to a lot of people, and some of the stuff resonates with me and some doesn't. You know, I heard a pastor say the other day, he says, don't feed the alligators, right? You know what he meant. But may I just say, and may I just point out, the situation where I'm at and that I am in currently, I don't have a choice. This individual that I'm talking about, KEISHER GLYMPH, every so often, when I'm feeding the alligators, I have to set aside a considerable amount of portion for just her. Why? Because she's the biggest of all the alligators and she's the leader of that carnivorous pack. Pastor, I started this podcast for therapy. I started this podcast because it helps me when I talk about what's going on in my life. And this alligator knows. This alligator knows. Exactly where and when and how to trigger me in order for me to feed her and her bunch. Pastor, I'm in a catch-22 situation, you see. I can't help but feed the alligators because whenever I am going through something, I can't help it but to talk about it, especially if it gets too stressful for me. Even before having podcasts, I used to, as a child, go aside and make believe and just talk. Hence, I was called the retarded one growing up in my family. That was always different. I realize sometimes that I do have to feed the alligators because that's the only way you'll know where they're lurking in the swamp. You know how an alligator feeds? Alligator stalks its prey. And they're usually in murky waters. And they're right below the surface. They don't want to be too deep because they have to be able to close the distance between them and their prey within a matter of seconds. And they don't want to be too close to the surface, and they don't want to be too deep. I made a podcast the other day. It was an episode. I wasn't sure where it was at, but I think I talked about it. And this is a brand new phone that I got, Pastor. Right now, you could say I have about 4 phones. I have about 4 phones, Pastor, because I have no choice, you see. Everywhere I go, before I even get there, the people I'll be specific. It would always be someone close in my proximity that can do me harm. Psychological harm, mentally. So right now I'm dealing, with the individual upstairs, Pastor. For some way, somehow, this woman, she's a woman. I just recently found out that it is a woman upstairs that's terrorizing me. Somehow or the other, she has gotten my phone number. She has gotten my phone number, Pastor, and she's able to see everything that's going on my phone. So much so that as soon as I turn my phone on, the noise starts. That's a telltale sign. I woke up this morning at 6 o'clock. Had a plan to go to the gym. I put this phone on, the phone that I'm talking on now. I put this phone on. Let me interject something here first, Pastor. I was told to change my name. And when I heard that, I wasn't sure what it meant, right? And I was like, should I change my government name, or is it because I didn't know. Was it my YouTube channel name? I don't know. But I went ahead and I changed my podcast name from my government name to what it is now, No One, right? Because I'm no one special. I'm just like any other human being. So I did that. I changed my name, my podcast name. All day, every day, all night long. Every night, Pastor, I have to sleep with noise canceling sound. The lightning, the thunder, the rain. I have to do that all night long. I woke up this morning. I hadn't even turned the other phone on. I turned this phone on. I bought this phone about 4 weeks ago. Actually, I bought it about a month and change ago, but I just turned it on about 3 weeks ago. This morning when I woke up, Pastor, and I'm getting myself together, the tenant upstairs wakes up, the neighbors, and starts the banging, starts the terrorizing. His tenant has been given information that to do that to me is going to trigger me. But when I look at it, Pastor, that would upset anyone. Could you imagine? I used to wake up 2:30 in the morning, Pastor. She would too. How? Pastor, how? When I wake up, she wakes up 2:15, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. The banging starts. I realized it had to do with my phone. So I have another phone. I use that phone. There is no sermon that I have seen that has been talking about cyberbullying, right? Yes, the sermons and the secular world haven't caught up to that yet. But make no mistake, this is what's happening to me. It's called psychological gang stalking. And it's being led by, I like to call her Satan's helper. I even used to call her a demon. I'm told not to call her that. I'm just going to call her the leader of the carnivorous bunch. Banging starts this morning. I put on this phone, the new phone, I put on some motivational speaking, Steve Harvey. When I turned my phone on, that's the first thing I saw. I'm going to the gym, so I want something inspirational and motivational too. We all do that. I'm not the only one. It's important that I tell you how my day is and what I'm going through. So you know that I'm not doing anything different. I'm not doing anything unique, Pastor. One thing that Steve Harvey said, he says that where he's at now, he's still having problems and he still have challenges, he still have issues. He says, make no mistake, if you get famous and if you get rich, it's not like your problems are going to disappear. You just have a whole nother set of them. But he said something very, very important and something very poignant. He said, but the problems I had when I was homeless, he said, I don't ever want to go back to that. And this is where I am right now, Pastor. I am where Steve Harvey never ever wants to go back to, never wants to digress to. The thing is, everyone always talks about where they are now. He wasn't making motivational tapes and sermons when he was living out of his car to guide us through, to show us what he was dealing with. It's only after, you've made it, people are making it, that they try to go back and say, you don't know what I've been. You're right, we don't. So I guess in a sense, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I guess people need to understand that being poor is not just economically poor. It just doesn't attack that one segment of your life. It attacks everything. It takes a toll on you mentally, psychologically, and even physically. For me, it does. I made a podcast the other day where I tried to point out how your physical health is attached to your mental health. Let me tell you something. For me, I don't want to get off the topic, Pastor, but it's very, very important. For me, my psychological being and my well-being, my mental well-being has a lot to do